Hey guys, this is Daniel from Fantasy Boom. Welcome to our daily video. This video is for April 5th, 2018 for our Predict Pick picks. First things first, if you want to sign up for Predict Picks, go to predictpicks.com/welcome. In the referral code box, put our referral code, thatfantasyboom. And when you do that, send us an email at thatfantasyboom@gmail.com, and we will send you our over-the-shoulder research video showing you how we do all of our research for our picks night in and night out. I want to go over a couple of yesterday's picks briefly here before we get into today's picks. Here's who we settled on by the night's end. Vucevic over and Dragic over. We really like these matchups, but unfortunately they were ruled out right before a lock. So that didn't really affect us too bad. If you make a play on a guy who does not end up playing, it's not like Draft Kings or FanDuel where you just lose your money because you took a zero. You get that bet back. So that bet gets canceled, and any bet with that player gets returned back to you, and it's null and void. So I just wanted to point that out. But we picked Simmons and Drummond over, and only because Drummond was ruled in. But then it dawned on me that probably wasn't the best idea because Drummond was questionable all day because of flu-like symptoms. And I don't know how the hell I missed this, but if he might not play because of flu symptoms, I know if I'm feeling sick, like who the hell wants to play in a basketball game? Well, he played that night, and you could tell this dude was not feeling like himself. Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. So I should have exercised more judgment in the actual situation and why he was questionable. So he did not hit. Simmons didn't really need to do much because they were in control for the most part the entire game. Tatum over was a play that I had everywhere yesterday. I loved going Tatum over. The Boston team did not show up. It was ridiculous. At one point in the fourth quarter, there was like 8 minutes left to go. Boston had scored 65 points. Like, how does an NBA team score 65 points almost through an entire game? It's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody showed up. Everybody on Boston played like absolute dog shit. This play really irritated the hell out of me because it set up so good. So this was disappointing. The three that did well for us were Lowry under and DeRozan under, which I knew that would happen. It's just I said yesterday they're a victim of their team's success. The team as a whole does really well, so these guys individually don't need to do a lot. And then LaMarcus Aldridge over. This guy has been playing like an absolute animal. And yesterday in a high-paced game versus the Lakers, there's no reason to think that wouldn't continue. It helped that the game also went to overtime, but he hit the over fairly easily. So on to today's picks. I got a decent amount of guys highlighted here. I'm gonna touch on some of them here. Hopefully this video doesn't get too long. I want to try to keep this between 10 and 12 minutes, give or take. So we're still working on refining our process. So just bear with us as we do that. First guy I'm really looking at is Donovan Mitchell. His projection is 36.9, going up against the Clippers, who have been giving it up to opposing shooting guards. Donovan Mitchell is also on somewhat of a heater. He's passed this projection number, I want to say 4 times in his last 8 games or so. So here's what you need to know. Right now, it's almost the playoffs, and there's teams that are fighting for their lives to make the playoffs, okay? In the Eastern Conference, it's already set. Detroit is done. They can't make the playoffs since they lost last night. But in the West, man, this is crazy. So from 4 through 10, these guys can make the playoffs still. Utah, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, New Orleans, Denver, and the Clippers. The fascinating part to me is that look at the games that separate these 7 teams. 45 wins for Utah, 42 wins for the Clippers. 3 games separate 7 teams in regards to playoff seeding. So these teams are fighting for their fucking lives, trying their very best to win night in and night out, because they want to make the playoffs. All right, the playoffs is a big deal, and these teams want to go. And we're running down to the end of the season. I think there's 5 or 6 games left for a lot of these teams before everything is decided. So these teams need to win. All right, they need to win. So that being said, Donovan Mitchell is a staple in this lineup, and the Clippers have been giving up to opposing point guards. Why not attack them in a place where they've been giving it up? Mitchell, he chucks a lot of shots. This dude is shooting like nobody's business, and even if his shot isn't dropping, he does enough of everything else in the rebounding and assist categories to get it done. So I like him to go over this number here. I'm moving over to Paul Millsap. So it's the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves tonight. Okay, and if you take a look here, Timberwolves here versus the Nuggets. So here's how this could shape up. If Denver wins this game, they move into the playoffs, and then Minnesota will move out because Denver will have beaten them in the head-to-head. If Minnesota wins, they can move up over Oklahoma City, or they can move up over Oklahoma City because I think they beat Oklahoma City head-to-head. But Denver will then move down based on what happens with the Clippers. So these teams must win, and it's funny how Mike Malone, the coach of the Nuggets, was messing around with his rotation and doing a bunch of stupid stuff earlier in the year. He quit that now because they're right here on the cusp of making the playoffs. He's not messing around with his rotation anymore. Millsap is on a heater, all right? In the last 3 games, I think he's been averaging 42 FanDuel points. So he's averaging over his total here. Also in that time, he's taken 17, 18 shots a game. Very, very aggressive player. We know that Paul Millsap is. He's going to be guarded by Taj Gibson tonight. Gibson is a good defender, but Paul Millsap, man, this guy is just aggressive offensively. He's rebounding the ball really well. He's almost averaging 10 rebounds over his last 3 games. In this game where he should be playing significant minutes, I actually am leaning in the over here on his number. A lot of the offense tonight is going to be run through Nikola Jokic, who is their best player by far. But I think Millsap can squeak out over this number. And, you know, if he gives us 36, 37 FanDuel points tonight, we're happy. You know, we're not playing FanDuel or Draft Kings where they have to give you 6 times ratio of their salary. Screw that. We just need him to get over this number. And I think tonight in this matchup versus Minnesota, he can do that for us. Klay Thompson, man, this guy's interesting. I can be sometimes biased toward this guy because I don't like him. I don't think he's worthy to be an all-star. Again, just my bias thing. You know, I don't like him as a player, but I can't deny that he's in a pretty good matchup tonight versus the Pacers. They're on the road in Indiana, but here's the thing I noticed about Klay Thompson. I went and looked at his logs, and this guy's been taking almost 20 shots a night. I think it's 19 shots in his last 3 games since he's been back. He's taken 19 shots. And in 2 of his last 3 games, he's gone over this total. Now, I'm thinking to myself, how can you take 19 shots? He shot 50% from the field, but he's just barely getting over this number. Well, then I look closer, and he's not getting any peripherals. He's getting just a couple of rebounds, maybe a couple of assists, and that squeaks him just above this. But if he doesn't get any rebounds or doesn't get any assists, then he doesn't hit this number. So this one, I'm not too sure where I want to go. This number is low, and I think he can get over it. But if he doesn't shoot the ball well at all, if he starts missing, he doesn't get enough rebounds, assists, or steals to even make up for that. So I had this highlighted because I think this number is too low, but I don't trust him as an actual player. And I already told you guys I can be kind of biased, which doesn't help when you're trying to make picks based on data and what you know about the game. And I'll make a side note here. I make these picks based on research and data, and then I also make picks in combination with that data with my knowledge of basketball, because I tend to watch a lot of basketball as well. So I know how these guys play. I know what games they get up for. So that's kind of where the research is coming from, the data and familiarity with watching these games. Now, Chris Paul, they play the Portland Trailblazers tonight, and his total is 39.8. Him and Damian Lillard have a little beef dating back to when they last played 2 games ago. And if Damian Lillard was playing, I'd say, let's take Chris Paul on the over. He's gone over this number all 3 times he's faced the Blazers this year. The problem is Damian Lillard is questionable, and I don't even know if he's going to be playing tonight. Let's check that, actually. Day-to-day, expected to miss Thursday's game in Houston. Okay, you know what? I'm glad I brought that up. If Lillard doesn't play, he's their best player by far, and Shabazz Napier is here. I can see the Rockets blowing them out. And if they're up and have a good lead on them, I don't see why Chris Paul is going to stay in the game. So I'm going to unhighlight him because I didn't realize Lillard actually is going to miss tonight's game. Next, we've got Victor Oladipo versus the Warriors. The Indiana Pacers want to win because they can move up and get home court advantage. As it stands right now, they're 2 games out. They need to at least get up to this 4th seed to get home court advantage, and that's something they said they do want to do. So they want to keep winning. Oladipo, I've been making money on betting Oladipo under because he was on a major cold streak, so cold, and now he's heated up. He's gone over this number 3 times in a row, 3 games in a row now. And I tend to look at trends, and if a player is playing poorly, I'll count on them playing poorly. If they're playing really well, I'll count on them playing well, as long as it's not, beyond the level of expectation. So this number isn't crazy for him, and he's been playing really well. And where his playing has come in on the defensive end, he's been racking up the defensive stats like nobody's business. He's averaging, I think, 4 steals a game over his last 3 games. So this guy has really picked it up. And if I play him, I'm going to play him on the over because he seems to be in a groove, and I'd rather just roll with it instead of trying to roll against it. He's been in a groove. So if I play him, I'm playing him on the over. And I just want to point out that these guys that I've highlighted are guys that I'm looking at including in my plays later. So I'll probably narrow these down to 5 or 6 plays that I'm going to play, and then I'll do variations of pick 2s, pick 3s, and pick 4s with those 5 or 6 guys. LeBron James plays the Wizards tonight. His number is 56.3. The game is at home in Cleveland. Cleveland has to win this game to make sure they keep home field advantage. This is going to be interesting because LeBron, he destroys the Wizards. He loves playing the Wizards, firstly, and the Wizards get up to play Cleveland because Cleveland has always been like the big brother to the Wizards. The reason why I like LeBron to go over this number tonight is because this man, John Wall, is playing. John Wall playing for the Wizards now makes them healthy, they're whole, and the Wizards need to make a statement in this game and bring it to Cleveland because there's a good chance the Wizards are going to be playing the Wizards are going to be playing Cleveland in the first round of the playoffs, and they need to send a statement saying, hey, we play you in the first round, we can beat you guys. Right now, I think that LeBron James gets this done. Last game, he actually did not hit his over. He went under, and he went under because his teammates caught fire. Jose Calderon, I think, scored over 20 points. Kevin Love had a great game. Cleveland was just knocking down shots. So when his teammates are knocking down shots, he just distributes, passes the ball. He's not as aggressive. I think in tonight's game, the Wizards come to play, and because they come to play, LeBron has to put the team on his back and ensure they win tonight because they cannot lose. They cannot lose at all. It's very important that they win. So I like LeBron to go over his total of 56.3. And then jumping the Wall again, I like John Wall to also go over 38. Since he's come back from injury, I think he's gone over this number twice. But the most important thing is he looks healthy. All right, he looks healthy. So whatever procedure he had done in his knee clearly worked because this guy looks very healthy. His swag is back. And I think coming to Cleveland tonight, this guy, he gets it done. Cleveland has been very good defensively over the last 5 games. I don't know if it's just a fluke or if they really are buckling down on the defensive end, but point guards against Cleveland haven't done anything in the last 5 games. But we know John Wall, he is an all-star, and this guy can play. And I think he brings his A game tonight into Cleveland as they really try to look to get this game and button this up. Next, we got KD, 48.2. His number here has been creeping up, and he's actually crushed it over on this number in his last 3 games. And in tonight's game against the Pacers, I'm just looking at the matchup. Who's going to guard him on the Pacers side? Bojan Bogdanovic? I mean, come on. I mean, he's a decent NBA player. Obviously, he's getting paid millions to play this game. But there's no way in hell Bojan Bogdanovic can guard Kevin Durant. All right, the Warriors have, did they lose their last game or did they win their last game? Okay, yeah, they've won 3 in a row. Okay. They have got to get some sort of consistency going, getting into the postseason, heading into the postseason, and I'm anticipating the Pacers to bring it tonight. The Pacers aren't going to just roll over. If they get down early, they're not going to just give up. These guys want to keep winning, and Victor Oladipo has been playing lights out. Therefore, I think that since this game is also going to be in Indiana, and the game is going to be close, Kevin Durant is going to have to play his full run of minutes, almost 40 minutes a night. And I don't see anyone on the Indiana Pacers who can actually guard him and keep him from scoring. So I think he goes over this number just looking at the matchup on paper. I mean, Bojan Bogdanovic seems like a nice guy, but he can't guard Kevin Durant. Karl Anthony Towns. I already talked about the Nuggets and the Timberwolves playing tonight in a must-win game. Karl Anthony Towns is the heart and soul of this Timberwolves game. And when Karl Anthony Towns actually gets going, I think the Timberwolves, there was a stat that when Karl Anthony Towns takes 20 shots a night, the Timberwolves are 5-1. Well, 6-1 now. The only loss they had was versus the Golden State Warriors, which we know the Warriors, they're a very good team. Now, the Timberwolves have to win this game. If they do not win this game, they are going to miss the playoffs, guaranteed. I am from Minnesota. I live in Minnesota. I'm not from Minnesota. I live in Minnesota, and I was excited for the Timberwolves because I thought, man, like earlier this season they were at the 3rd seed for the majority of the year, and then Jimmy Butler went down, and then everything started to go downhill. If they want to win this game tonight, they need to ride this man like a racehorse, and then when he gets tired, ride him even more. We know Thibs, and we know that he plays his starters insane minutes, so he should see over 40 minutes tonight in this game. He needs to show up, plain and simple. And he's gone over this number 5 times in his last 9 games, I want to say off the top of my head. I looked at it before I came on here. They need him. So he has to get the ball. He has to take his shots. He rebounds very well. We know that. His opposition, and this is the only thing that makes me hesitant on this, he's going up against Nikola Jokic, and Jokic is just as talented of a player. Okay, let's be real. He's good. But Jokic is also like Towns, where they're centers who play out on the perimeter. And Towns, he gets in foul trouble way too often with putting his hands on guys and not moving his feet. If anyone can get this dude in foul trouble, it's Jokic. But it's also the reverse. Jokic also can get into foul trouble guarding guys just like Karl Anthony Towns. Towns has also been really bad defensively, and I think his defense has waned because he has to be able to stay on the floor. So he sucks on the defensive end to conserve energy for the offensive end of the floor, but to also try to stay out of foul trouble so that he can stay on the floor, if that makes sense. So I like him to stay out of foul trouble, and I'm going to take the risk and see he actually does stay out of foul trouble tonight. And he goes over this 47.1 tonight because they need him to. So I like him on the over because they need to win tonight. Brad Beal, his number's at 37.2 tonight. I have been making money on him betting the under because, like Oladipo, he has been so cold. The difference is I don't think he could handle being the number 1 guy on this Wizards team because he was playing like it. His numbers have been dreadful, and he's been under night after night after night. He went over this number in the last game, but again, I kind of am biased about him. So I want to say Bradley Beal under in this matchup, but I know John Wall back makes that entire team better, and John Wall back takes the focus off of other guys, takes the focus off of guys like Brad Beal, and gets Brad Beal wide open shots. So this one is tough. I want to say under because he's gone under way more than over in his last 10, 11 games, but also knowing that John Wall is back is going to get him wide open looks. It's going to open up driving lanes for him. He could also go over this number. So I haven't quite made up my mind on him. I don't even know if I'm going to end up making a play on him. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. And then Kevin Love. Since he's come back from injury, he's gone over this number in every game but one. And he is going to be starting at the center, and he is going to be guarded by Marcin Gortat, who is a nice guy, okay basketball player. He's getting older, but no way in hell he can guard Kevin Love. No way in hell he can guard Kevin Love, since Kevin Love actually floats on the perimeter and hangs out there to get open looks from LeBron. And even when Kevin Love does get the ball in the post, they've just been really trying to get Kevin Love going because they know they need to lean on him as well to make a deep run into the playoffs and try to get back to the NBA Finals. Kevin Love is not a... Here's how I know if Kevin Love is going to have a good game. If he starts well, he's going to have a good game. Okay, Kevin Love is a fast starter. If he starts well, he's going to have a good game. He is not a finisher. So if he starts poorly, it's going to be a shitty night, and he may not even get to his number because he doesn't turn it on in the third quarter or fourth quarter. There's no such thing for Kevin Love. He only turns it on in the first quarter, and if it's not turning on in the first quarter, then it's not turning on at all. So I like him to go over this number. I just really hope he can get it done early and, get us halfway there in the first quarter, because then we know he'll hit this no problem. LeBron can start out with, and have at halftime 20 points, and he can still hit this number on the over. So I'm not worried about him starting hot. He finishes. I need Kevin Love to start hot if I play him, which I'm probably going to do. Speaking of starting hot, Lou Williams. All right, kind of a quick story before I end this video. So there was one particular night where I had Lou Williams in a lot of my lines, and I stood to win a decent amount of money. I had him on the under, all right? I think his number was like 37 something. So it was in the fourth quarter, and Lou Williams had like 15.25 DraftKings points. I track it on a DraftKings app. Even though this is FanDuel scoring, I track it on DraftKings. So he had 15.25 points starting the fourth quarter, and I'm like, done. This is great. I'm going to win like $500 tonight. This is awesome. What a great night. I make my kids a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, okay, and I check the score again. Probably 10 minutes had passed. In 10 minutes, this dude now had 45 DraftKings points. He went from 15 to 45 in less than one quarter. And because he went over the number when I predicted he'd go under, I lost all my freaking bets for that night. And I was going to win several $100s. I ended up winning nothing because Lou Williams had the quarter of a lifetime. I think he ended up dropping almost 35 DraftKings points in the quarter to lead the Clippers back from down and then help them win. So I hardly ever play him anymore after that because, oh man, that left a really bad taste in my mouth. But anyway, I digress. These are the picks I'm looking at, and if you guys decide to play them, good luck. I'm going to narrow down my pool even further and find the 5-6 guys that I want to make all my plays with for the night. So good luck, guys, tonight, and don't forget to like this video. It helps us out. Subscribe to our channel, and this way you will get all the videos. You'll get notifications for all the videos every time we post one. Hope you guys like this website. It's different, man. It truly is different. And instead of finding 8 or 9 guys to make a lineup around, you just pick the handful of guys you think will go over or under their number. It's a much simpler way to play fantasy, and I really hope you guys like it. So, yep, if you have any questions, reach out to us here in the channel, and we'll definitely respond. All right, guys, have a good day.